In February of this year, I was feeling nauseous and a bit fatigued for a couple of weeks. My pregnancy test came out positive, and I immediately knew that I was not interested in continuing with that pregnancy. I'm 29, I'm a homeowner, I have a stable job, I've kickstarted my career, I have 2 degrees. And if you look at me on paper, and you might say, that's an ideal situation for a person who finds themselves pregnant. But at the end of the day, I was pregnant and I didn't want to be, and I didn't need any other reason besides that to say, I am going to seek an abortion.
So here in Texas, we've had a couple of restrictive policies here in the last year that affect access to abortion care. What that has resulted in on the ground, based on some of our research through Texas Policy Evaluation Project, has been that we've seen about a 50% decrease in the number of patients who are able to have abortions in Texas.
SB 8 banned abortion at around 6 weeks into a pregnancy, though the language of the bill said that it was around a heartbeat, which is factually inaccurate. At 6 weeks into a pregnancy, it's not possible to find a heartbeat. Instead, there are sometimes fetal heart tones, but at that point in a pregnancy, many people don't even know they're pregnant. So I think a lot of the focus of that bill was to say, we're not banning abortion, but in reality, it is a full abortion ban for many people who don't realize they're pregnant until past 6 weeks.
I connected with a friend who in the past had mentioned that when they visit Mexico, we're only 2.5 hours from the border. When they visit Mexico, they would sometimes purchase misoprostol, which is available over the counter there, as it's also used to treat ulcers. And they would just keep some in their medicine cabinet just in case they knew anyone who needed to seek an abortion and didn't have access to a clinic. And so I reached out to this friend and asked them if they had any at their disposal, and they did.
Who is affected most by these policies are the same groups of people who are affected by, many different policies that restrict access to health care. So communities, BIPOC communities, people who are poor, teenagers, people living in rural communities, people with low social capital. There are pregnancies that can be, affected in devastating ways, such as anomalies where the brain doesn't develop normally or the kidneys don't develop normally. And those are pregnancies that have, very poor outcomes and will very likely die soon after birth. The standard of care is to offer patients that have those diagnoses an abortion. And in Texas, we cannot offer that service.
If you're under 18, you have to get a parent or guardian's permission to get an abortion. And it used to be that you could have this alternative that we help with called a judicial bypass. But that process involves going to court, talking to a judge, getting an order from a judge, but all of it took time. It used to take 2 to 3 weeks. But if you just find out you're pregnant at 5 weeks, that would put you past the abortion ban limit. So youth are trying to figure out that they're pregnant, go get these court orders, and do it all before 6 weeks.
Come here. In this experience seeking an abortion in Texas, I was more concerned about facing possible criminalization than anything that could happen to me physically or my bodily safety. more than anything, it was an experience that was frustrating and heartbreaking because I was constantly thinking about the fact that a person who is not as connected and is not in the know about what resources are available would never even make it this far in seeking abortion care.
We've had patients turned away from the pharmacies trying to pick up their medications, and then that results in patients that are, kind of struggling to figure out how to pick up their medications, calling the clinic, all while they're grieving the loss of a pregnancy.
So I think my fear is that young people are some of the most burdened and targeted if there's going to be an overturn of Roe, and they're also the least empowered to fight back. My hope is that this generation does fight back and reclaims what is theirs. I had the honor of having abortion access my whole life, and I want that for young people.